Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another segment of Asaph Cafe. I am your host, Asaph Adonai, and we have two special people plus one coming in. This is our 150th episode of Asaph Cafe, and we are in Africa today, as you can see our backdrop with the lovely zebras there.
Yeah.
And on my left, we have the lovely Louise Bundy. Further on my left, we have Jeremy who's joined us, and Scott Ranf is going to come by and say hello for a moment.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, this is our 150th episode of Asaph Cafe. Can you believe that?
You got a pillow right here.
Yeah. 150 episodes.
150.
Yes,
Oh, man.
150. Yeah, and this show is 2.5 years old, and it's come a long ways from the two brick walls we had.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing.
You originally started out trying to launch your Lawrence Welk show. You're still working on that today.
Yeah, still working on
But
that.
you wanted to
too.
do a Lawrence Welk show, so you kind of like did a little test in the studio where you kind of like invited some people to come down where you played piano and
Right.
and then you kind of made that into its own show.
That's it. That's how this show was birthed. That's it.
Because it was, the whole idea was like you wanted to do the Lawrence Welk thing, and then you.
That's
ended up doing
right.
That with who was that lady who did that?
That
first
was
episode?
Stacy Bears. She was the first person to ever appear. I mean, before you did, when we were just doing a little test. She works over at the First Security Bank. That lady, that really good-looking lady with the blonde hair. So that's how this whole thing started. And I just blurted out, "Welcome to Asaph Cafe." I hadn't even thought about Asaph Cafe. It was just a cafe setting. I just accidentally said it. And then I had something like 3 hours recording time left when we did that little promo thing. And that's how this whole thing started, this Asaph Cafe. And when I first created this show, I thought, oh man, no one's going to watch this show. It's going to fizz like within the first month or two. People started watching.
Right.
They started calling in, they started watching. And of course, Professor Green at the university, he and his wife watch this show every week, so I'm really humbled by it. Yeah, and he's been sending me some emails, when I had took that month off to play at the mall.
Oh, right.
Remember that? I had some taped in advance, like, okay, Asaph, when are you going to start doing the Asaph Cafe again? I'm like, okay, I better get back to doing this.
Yeah. So you have fans. That's great.
Yes, I'm really humbled by it, so yeah. This is just a fun little silly fun show, I call it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've
I thought
talked
you call
about...
it Asaph Cafe.
And we've talked about things like mail order brides on this show.
Yeah, it was-
Scott had a debate with Emmett on which Star Trek show is better,
Oh
The Next
my
Generation or the one with William Shatner. And we've had some serious things, but mostly it's just delightful,
Just
silly
nice
things.
little talks
Sure,
and
just-
whatnot.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
silly
friends
talk.
chatting.
We've talked about movies, talked about The
And-
Incredibles.
And it's always nice to see Emmett in a whole different light, because Emmett's always been known for his own awful truth about society.
Yeah. And speaking of Emmett, we want to wish him well. He should be well enough by next week to come back.
Good.
He's had some allergy issues, and they gave him antibiotics, so
Good.
he sounded pretty good.
Oh yeah, and before we go, I'm just gonna tell people out there, if you guys want to make a show like Asaph or something of your very own, you can always come down to MCAT, 500 North Higgins Suite 105. Our number is 542-6228. You can also email us mcat@mcat.org. It's a great resource for Asaph and other public producers who want to make videos, and that's exactly what Jeremy is doing as well.
Well, you need a
They
pen,
got
Jeremy,
great
you know where I'm
pillows
at.
too.
Well, if you need a pen, you know where I'm at. Advertise myself.
Sure. Great.
Right. Well, thanks, Scott.
Bye, Scott.
Bye.
I'm going to freeze on that note right
Yeah.
there. So, Jeremy, how have you been? What you been up to lately?
Blessed. Working on a movie.
Good, good. You want to talk
Yeah.
about it? Go ahead.
Sure.
Give you a little platform here. I didn't have much things to prepare for today's show because Emmett's not here. We got something planned for Emmett as soon as he comes back.
Well, I'm working on a movie. It's a testimony about my life before meeting God,
Oh.
and then how my life changed, how it flipped around from a negative into a positive, into a blessing, actually. And not feeling afraid to, life became clear.
Well, how did you get exposed to your faith? Or was it something in your life, or did someone say something, or?
It was through a person. It was is that Brother Smith?
Oh, we'll get him in on this too.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
Oh, Brother Smith.
Brother,
Come
hey,
on in.
I just want to congratulate Mr. Adonai on his
Yeah, 150th. Yeah, this is our 150th, and you know Jeremy, don't you?
Jeremy, hi, how are you?
We're
I'm Brother
familiar
Smith.
with each other.
And, yes, Mrs.
Louise.
Louise,
Yeah.
how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Marvelous. It's
And
good
you
to
can see
you.
we're in Africa.
Hey, don't do
today.
that. I got a wife watching my show.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, honey.
Hey, that's right. Where are we here? In the Valley of the Kings?
Actually, this is the African continent. The credits didn't have the information; it just had the pictures, and that's it.
Looks like it might
So-
be the Serengeti.
Yes.
We can,
yes,
yeah. I don't know exactly what part of the African continent, but I decided for this episode we'll go Africa.
Safari.
Safari.
Well, I just wanted to convey to you all the best wishes and
Thank you, sir.
continued
Thank
success
you. Thank you.
with
Thank
your
you.
program. And
Uh-huh.
again, I'm delighted. I was just I thank Mr. Scott Ranf, the studio technician, for bringing to my attention.
Yeah.
This is the
I hadn't seen you lately, otherwise I would have invited you.
150th
Yeah, this
episode.
is 150.
That is
I
incredible.
want to thank you.
Congratulations.
And
We'll get back to your faith in a moment. Yeah. Yeah.
I just
thank
want
you,
to say
thank you.
kudos to you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
on,
Thank
and
you.
on behalf of all of us at Right Now TV, yeah, we wish
Thank
you the
you.
best, and you've got to come on my show.
Yeah, anytime.
All right,
Just
well, I'll
let
be
me know
looking
when you're
forward
ready.
to seeing you as my special guest.
All right.
So, yeah, and you all keep up the good work.
Thank
Miss
you.
Louise,
All right.
and this is the young minister here.
Yes, we were just gonna talk about his faith here. He's
That's what
he's
that's
doing a
great.
film about his life and his faith.
Excellent.
So
Well,
I
we
want to
wish
give
you
him
the
a
best.
platform.
Well,
here.
you stay on the high road. Don't go down here. Asaph, best wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work. Miss
All right.
Louise,
Good to see you.
and you all have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
bye.
All right.
You're gonna be
All
here.
right.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott. So we were talking about your new faith here.
Yes.
Oh,
How
yes.
did you come to your faith?
It's been an ongoing process, asking a lot of questions and none of them really getting answered by
Okay.
examples that
Mm-hmm.
people were living.
Cool.
So it just led me into a lot of change through interactions of, a lot of learning experiences, like
Mhm.
who I need in my life and who I don't, who are just passing by and who are, where is my peace? Where is my soul? And I was originally a Buddhist, and then, once you meet the Lord, there's really no going back to anything besides focusing just on Him. But I met Him through a girlfriend at the time, through her, and we went through the hot springs, and
Okay.
like the way she sat, like I had been on mushrooms or drugs at the time, and the way she was sitting when the sun came out, and how everything just aligned, and I was looking at her and I was like, you're really beautiful, you're glowing, and suddenly like she just sat in like this spot, and the sun was like perfectly right behind her head, and you could see like this big old halo, and then like it was like almost like everything was like cleaning itself.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere was getting like really like sauna, like like very clean, majestic, like what's going on? My thoughts were rolling all over the place because the mushrooms were like taking me into like I started hearing thoughts and stuff, and then
So then it was just like a process with you for your faith to where you're at now,
yeah,
pretty
and
much.
it was like once that happened, like she just looked at me, and then it was like it was her, and she was speaking, but it wasn't like it was like a different interpretation of what was on the surface of a conversation, and then it got into the process of who you're talking to, and then I was like, I just didn't say anything, I just listened, and then knew that you knew that you were seeing. You can't.
I see.
You just can't believe, can you? You know, does it need to make sense? You know, because we always rationalize everything, and it was just she and him and her was like very, like he reached into my soul and found like the darkest spot that I've been like holding on my whole life, which was not really growing up with a father, you know, and joining the military and then, you know, going through a lot of like, I got in trouble a lot. You know?
So you go into a healing process too then,
Yeah.
right? Emotional healing too?
Yeah, and then I just started crying a lot about why did my father leave me, you know, it's why us men try to overcompensate that empty space in our life.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it was a lot of ego, a lot of, you know, now it's a lot of healing now.
Yeah, I had to go through some healing of my own too, because I came from a pretty dark family too that I wrote about in my autobiography. Yeah, my father, and I don't want to pick on him, so I want to say this kindly. He had his own issues, I think, growing up. He was abandoned by his mother as a 5-year-old little boy, and I don't think he ever recovered from that. So by the time he grew up and had me and so on, it showed in the way, you know, under his leadership of his family, you might say.
Yeah, I can relate to some of that too because I grew up without a father too.
And it took me years myself to recover from that, because I used to think it was like this mean thing. And when I got older, I was like, what's my dad act like this? I got to get to the bottom of it, so I started investigating. You know how you just check, you talk to older family members and stuff. And it helped me to have compassion for him. Now, it doesn't excuse the behavior,
Oh, of course.
but it helps me to understand him at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's
I went
maybe a
through
little
that.
different for women who don't have a father. I spent most of my life searching for that man that could fill that space.
Yeah.
You know, wasn't always a good choice, but wasn't always a bad one either. But still, it was like I wasn't a whole person. I was trying to, like you say,
Right.
fill a hole, and you know, eventually grew out of that.
Yeah.
You know, just through maturity and you know life experiences. But it's hard.
Well, you know, I had to learn to honor my father. Doesn't mean that we were close relationally, but just the fact that, you know, you're supposed to honor your parents, even if they're, you know, tough upbringing. You can at least say, well, I understand. See, to understand him, to me, is honoring my father. He's gone now. He died years ago.
Yeah, mine do too.
But that's what the conclusion I came to.
Yeah.
So I can relate to the healing that you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It took years.
Yeah, it does.
And it was harder for me with my birth mom because, how can I explain this? You know, back in the old days, if you got pregnant before marriage, you were forced into this marriage, even if it was unhealthy. And that's what happened with my birth mother. So she felt more trapped because she didn't wait till marriage, and then my father was abusing her then, and then I pop along. It made her feel trapped. So see, that's some stuff I had to deal with too. Now my other mom is a sweetie, so but she was one of those people just never had it tough like some people.
Right.
So it's hard for my other mom to relate. But I had to learn how to forgive and heal,
Oh yeah.
you know, both of my
Yeah,
parents.
forgiveness is very important. It doesn't mean you forget.
Yeah, I know. That's
But-
the misconception about
yeah,
forgiveness.
but
People
you
think
have
you
to
have to just
forgive.
forget and sweep it under the rug. That's
No,
not
no,
what
no.
forgiveness is.
It's not.
Forgiveness is giving up the right to get back at that
Of
person for what
course.
they've done.
Oh yeah.
Well,
That to me is forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, like reading the word, is if it's truly forgiven, it's forgotten.
Well, you forget, but you don't want to put yourself in
Well, like
harm's
it's not
way.
like an immediate go-to. You know,
Right.
it's just like it's kind of like, you know, when we've all opened microwaves or refrigerator doors before, right? And we don't really remember exactly, like, unless we stubbed our toe or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like,
uh-huh.
Like it just becomes like something that was just routine. That was just like, oh, that happened. Yeah, I remember that happened. But it wasn't. It's not like true forgiveness. It's because that's what like God is saying. Is like if you forgive someone of their sins, then I can forgive you. So it's not to say that it's forgotten. It's just to say it was just like opening the fridge.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I
it's just,
stubbed my toe,
it's just over.
and it's not
Yeah.
like a immediate
Yeah.
like immediate, like if there's a conversation comes up and that gets brought up, then it's not healed yet. You know?
Yeah.
So if there's anything on our minds that we we still hold against someone,
Mhm.
we need to still fix it because we need to confront the person about it.
I agree. I like what Dr. James McDonald says about forgiveness. It's like he put it this way: when someone does you wrong, then they owe you, and when you release them from that debt, that's forgiveness.
Mhm.
Releasing them from the obligation that resulted when they injured you is the way he worded it,
Mhm.
and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, never ever seek revenge for any
No.
reason. You know, it doesn't do anything but hurt you.
And it's like cancer too that eats you up
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. Your whole
Harbor
life is
bitterness,
consumed by
you know.
this. Yeah, it's terrible.
And
It's not
it
worth
starts
it.
to show in your personality and the way you
Yeah.
relate to people.
Yeah,
And,
it's not a healthy thing at all.
No.
Revenge. You know.
and when I was going through that, it was affecting my music too.
Oh,
We're
sure.
talking about when I was really young.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Stuff.
And anger is terrible. You know, it's really.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's dying in our sins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And usually, if there's one, there's another sin.
Mm.
Like it may be like if we have a problem with lust, it's usually attached to anger, and anger is attached to. So it just
Yeah.
is this full circle.
Mhm.
Well, another thing too, I wanted to break the cycle.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like you're treated one way, you grow up, and then you pass that on. I didn't
Oh,
want to
no,
do that to
no,
the
no.
next generation.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't have any children or anything, but I
Mhm.
just wanted to break that,
Mhm.
where the buck stops with Asaph.
Right.
So I had to deal with that, and I had a lot of counseling too when I was younger, like in my late teens
Oh,
and
good.
stuff like that
That's
at the
good.
time,
Yeah.
and it was healthy.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was healthy to talk about that, get all that out, what was
Sure.
troubling me, and
Oh, yeah.
how I was feeling, and
Mhm.
learning how to understand.
Mhm.
So,
Definitely.
and there's no definitive way to heal.
No, it
It's
depends on
just
each
for
individual
me,
person.
that's how it was.
Right.
It was talking it out, reasoning it out, getting the right people in my life,
Mhm,
stuff
mhm.
like that. At that time,
Yeah, I found a lot of release through the creative process of choreography and dance, and helping kids, teaching them, to feel good about themselves, and that really helped me. Taught ballet for 20 years, so, and horses. Thank God for the horses.
there's a ballet too.
Oh, yeah, I trained Tennessee Walkers and showed them in Southern California for a while, and they are magnificent animals, strong and loving, and that helped a lot too. If I didn't have my animals, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, animals are very healing, especially
Yeah.
for people that have like disabilities.
Oh,
They have like the
absolutely.
dogs that help them, or
Right.
people that have issues with fighting in the war or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Animals
In
come
fact, there
handy.
was a group that used to take delinquent boys
Yeah.
and take them out and give them wild horses to tame.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, and it's quite a lesson that they learn.
And what about that other African American fella that was teaching inner city kids how to plant gardens and plant
Yeah.
their own veggies out there instead of
Yeah,
going
see
to
where
the
it-
store to
sure,
buy it?
See where it comes from, yeah. it's
Yeah,
important.
that's pretty positive, all that
Absolutely.
positive stuff like that.
Yeah, these things would kind of keep you in touch with the earth, which is
Yeah.
really important. The animals, the planting, the
Right.
creativity, all of that is just kind of grounds you.
Mhm. Hey, I'm really glad to hear about your faith. So you said you're making a movie about it? Or
Yeah,
is it a documentary or an actual movie?
it's a movie.
Oh,
It's
okay, good.
There's so much to cover,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot to cover. So I'm trying to just do what I can. I'm like making it by scene. We're shooting a scene and then we're editing it, and then because
Okay.
there's so much.
Do you have people from your church in support of this project you're doing too? Or is this just your own personal
Yeah.
project, you might say?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because some people have if they're connected with a church, they might have an organization, or if not a church, someone, some
Mhm.
mentor or something
Oh,
that,
Right.
did you hear the story about that, basketball player was on, I think it was on 60 Minutes or CBS News, African-American basketball player, I can't think of his name. He just made it into the big times,
Hmm.
and as a 8th grader, he was homeless, because his mother lived in shelter to shelter.
Oh, that was on Sunday morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they talked about it just last night,
Yeah. Oh,
and he was like this really obese child,
Yeah.
and he got adopted or taken in by this
black
African
man,
American fella that happened to be
right.
like a coach and worked in
Right.
sports.
Yeah, and he lost the weight and became
Yeah,
a champion.
and they put this child on this regiment program, and now he's a world-class basketball player.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is when he was carrying all that weight, his new dad says, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I want to play basketball."
Yeah.
And the father didn't like shoot the dream. He
Right.
didn't like, well, you're too obese to do this. No, he
Right.
just started
Just helped him.
speaking positive stuff into this child's life, and it worked.
Mhm.
And now he gets out there and
Yeah.
spokes people out on the basketball
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be like slam dunking and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah,
It's
he's
just, I
really
can't think of
good.
his name,
I
but
can't
it's just a
either.
beautiful story.
It is wonderful.
That's what reminds me of like the angel and the devil. Like the,
Okay.
the people like in our life who
Uh-huh.
encourage us are the angels.
Yeah.
And the ones who pull us down are the good guys.
Well, I think you should have positive people. I try to have positive people in my life now. Because when I was growing up, I was always told, like when you have a dream or something you want to do, you're not going to do this. It's just such negative. They just speak this. It's like spewing venom.
Yeah.
And I had to get to a point where I had to just get away from that and get around people that support what I want to do.
Mhm.
Even if I don't make it, it's just the idea of getting positive stuff
Right,
into your life.
right.
No,
You know?
you'll make it though.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
done. I've got to do everything I've always wanted to do with
Yeah,
my life,
yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
am I. So am I.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was in Vegas when I was 26 years
Oh,
old.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I've been there, done that
Right.
twice.
Giving up is like the only way to fail.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and I've always been very independent. So whenever anybody
Mhm.
said, "Well, you're never going to do that," I just let it go in one ear and out the other, and went ahead and did what I wanted to do.
But see, when you're young, like when you're a teenager and you hear that, you tend to believe that because you don't have the maturity thing.
Mm.
So.
I think it depends. I was also very stubborn and very, for example, in high school, I was a dancer for a long time. I've taken years and years of dance, and I tried out for cheerleader.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, they never had an African American cheerleader in that school, even though it was 1/3 African American. So,
really?
yeah. So I tried out. My mom made me a little outfit. I did all my cartwheels and splits and
Uh-huh.
whatever, and they didn't elect me. Well, the whole the whole community was up in arms about it, and eventually had a meeting with the principal and the PTA and everybody, and finally they realized that my routine was just as good, if not better, than anybody else's, and they elected me in, and I was the first. And there have been several since, but I was the first.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So even though people say negative things or don't agree with you and poo-poo you, if you have your own mind and decide this is what you want to do, you just go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to learn in life too.
Yeah.
If I had listened to people when I was in high school, I would have never got to live the life I got to live.
Oh, no, you don't listen to anybody who's not there with you.
But I think that's
you know.
human nature. What people do is, when you say you want to do something with your life or pursue something, there's always naysayers, they call it.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Everybody, well, what do you want to do that for?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you just keep yourself focused and just go ahead with it.
Because what I did, I graduated from high school when I was 17,
Mhm.
and I immediately went into student teaching
Mm-hmm.
for 2 years. And I was working as a teacher's aide at my old junior high school, and I had 5 band classes a day that I was assisting, helping these students at that
Wow.
time. That was at 17.
Nice.
And then when I got accepted into the conservatory at 19, I was always told, you're not going to do such and such, you're not going to do such and such. And every time I was told I wasn't going to do something, I wound up doing
Well,
it.
of course. Sometimes
Just
it gives
by-
you incentive to
Yeah.
to continue. If you say, well, I'll show them,
But I had the support of my music teacher
Yeah.
too. That's how he paid all the fees for me to get into that school, because, not to pick on family, they weren't
Right,
supported at
right.
conservatory
That's
at
too
all.
bad. That's too bad.
And
Well,
my
I'm
music teacher came up to me and said, Asaph, you're good, I'm gonna help you.
That's
I'm
good.
gonna pay out of my pocket for you to go to that conservatory.
Nice.
And that's how I got into that school.
That's great. Yeah, I must say my mom was very encouraging with my dance, because
Yeah.
she took modern dance in college,
Mhm.
and so she wanted me to continue on, and I got pretty good at it. And then eventually got my own studio. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can't let others stop you from what you
Well, I
want to do.
realize that now, but I'm at a point in my life when I look back at my life, it never would have happened if I'd have listened to people.
Oh, of course not.
There would have been no
You have to listen to
conservatory.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No going to Loyola Marymount University or any of
Yeah.
that stuff, and at the time in
Yeah.
Vegas or any of that. None of that would have happened
Oh, yeah.
if I'd have listened to what people were saying.
Oh.
And their thing too, I always try to encourage people follow your dreams, no matter what they are.
Definitely.
You know, follow your dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And if someone's not in support, just find someone that will.
Yeah, or just support yourself.
Yeah.
You know, be your own best friend, is what I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The heck with all these other naysayers, you know, just
Mhm.
follow your heart, do what you need to do.
So getting back to your film, I haven't forgotten your film. How long have you been working on it now?
Maybe like 5 months.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Yeah, that's the longest thing.
Oh,
So you're doing it through the help with the studio here, or?
Yeah.
Okay, it's good.
It's interesting. It's like making little short films, but
Yeah.
you know, so I figured I was gonna do it like scene by scene,
Yeah.
you know, and then put them all together.
But it's basically telling your personal story more than anything else, right, in the film? Along with other topics that you might deal with?
So like I figured the film was gonna be just, in each scene is only gonna be 2 people.
Oh, I see.
So to show like there's always a friend, you know,
Yeah.
like God is always, all you need is one person, you know. God is help, like even through the worst times or the best times, like that
Right.
one person, that Adam and God, you know, Da Vinci painting,
Yeah.
and it's just like the love thing, the things that we see, the good positive things that we see is, or the people that we meet, even if they don't believe in God, but the good things that do come out of their mouth is of God.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so that's like, you know,
Wow,
we always.
it's amazing how time has gone by. Over 35 minutes have gone by already. It's just amazing how fast time goes, especially when you're talking,
Sure.
and so on. Well, I'm really glad to hear about that film. I'd be anxious to see it when you get it done.
Yeah, we wanna, you know, it's the first film I've ever, full length film. I don't know how long it's gonna be, so we're just gonna go from there, but it's the first, and I really want it to be spot on, you know, as far as
Well, with your age too, I think that's going to be pretty positive when you have a film like this for other younger people, not just African American people, just people in general. Trying to reach younger people too, with
I mean,
your story.
everybody.
Well, I know, I realize that, but I mean, you'll probably be pretty effective reaching younger people or people more like your age and stuff like that with your testimony and your story. So that's pretty cool.
Whoever needs it.
Yeah, whoever needs. Yeah, I guess some older people go watch it too.
Yeah.
So
I think of a few people that might need it.
yeah. But you know, as for me, it took me years to recover because I don't know about you, but it was pretty abusive when I was growing up too. Physical abuse and emotional abuse is even worse.
It
It's
is.
invisible.
It
It's like
is.
invisible
Right,
scar
right.
that, and a broken heart is harder to heal.
Especially
I'd
when
rather
you're
have
young.
a physical broken bone than an emotional broken heart.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
it's,
hard.
it's hard when you're very young because you're still forming your feelings about the world. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's more difficult to undo something bad than it is to do something good in the first place. So I learned that
Yeah.
from training horses. I used to retrain horses with vices, which means like, you know, kickers, rearers, runaways, whatever. And tell you what, that's really, really hard. It's much easier to train a horse the right way when you've got it, you know, when they're young, than to undo something that they learned how to do. You know.
Yeah,
So.
I was right when I write, because I work on that movie, and then we'll try to work on a scene, finish the scene, and then we'll work on like a music video.
Oh yeah.
So at least we're putting something out, and then like working on lyrics.
Excuse me.
It'll be like if I write something and I'm memorizing it, because it's easier to memorize it the first time, but then if I'm rewriting stuff, it's like I
You've
have
got
to
that first version in your brain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
try to do it right the first
No
time.
kidding, no kidding. I do that with choreography. Like a lot of times I would just choreograph on the spot because
yeah.
that way it's fresh, it's new,
Mhm.
you know, and it works, and then you don't go back and try to redo it.
Yeah.
Because like you say, it just doesn't work. You know, you have that freshness the first time, and that's
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So.
Overthinking is.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
don't think twice. Always have to walk on the road of certainty
Yeah.
through faith. Like,
Well, sometimes,
Exactly.
when you're working on things, you have too many ideas, you just, at least for
Yeah.
me, I had to just throw them out.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna forget most of the stuff
Well,
anyway,
sure.
so you don't get too confused with too much stuff coming
Right.
at you.
Exactly.
That's what I did when I was writing my book,
Yeah.
when I was getting clustered with too many ideas.
Exactly. Yeah, I choreographed the full-length version of Romeo and Juliet. It was a 9-month project, and I choreographed 23 scenes out of the ballet,
Okay.
and I danced Juliet. But yeah, that was mostly on-the-spot choreography. I knew the music very well, and I had seen the video of Michael Fontaine and Rudolph Nureyev, but I did my own version because I didn't have dancers of that level. So, but yeah, I didn't go back and redo anything because
Uh-huh.
it was just, too much. I had, 30 dancers that would depended on me to not waste their time.
Yeah.
So.
that'd be a good part of like a movie or something. I'm visual, so
Mhm.
like to like see like a project that's being like worked, whether it's dancing
Mhm.
or work
Yeah.
a film about a film,
Right.
working on there's a lot of those movies,
Uh-huh.
but it's like concept of like they're constantly throwing paper on the side of the ground, just like
Mhm.
working over, and
Mhm.
everyone's like over stressed about it,
Mhm.
and then finally like they just wipe it clean and they just don't think, and
Yeah,
they
just do
create,
it.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it just is like, wow,
Yeah.
you didn't use any of the
No.
stuff that we
And
used.
I never wrote any dances down,
Yeah.
as far as any of the steps down as far as that ballet was concerned. It was just, we got the people here,
Uh-huh.
they're gonna do this part, so go, this part of the music, and let's go,
I don't know if you know that song. That's the song they play when they do that documentary thing on the PBS.
Oh.
When people are talking.
Right.
Recognize it?
Yes, I do.
That's the song there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're just talking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, really.
But they always say positive things too, on those
Mhm.
little skits about. Well, that's not the right word.
Yeah.
When they're having like a 5-minute,
Right.
and they're talking about their lives, whoever the
Mhm.
person is that's being featured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And it's
Mhm.
really nice to hear stories like they do on Sunday morning. They always do a positive story every week, and I love that.
Yeah, I think that the media should have more positive stories. That's why I'm attempting to get that job with ABC News
Sure.
to do that. I don't know if you heard, I won't mention the network, but I've been pursuing ABC News to do those Asaph stories, and one of the networks contacted me and said, we don't do happy stories.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah. And the other one wanted to condense it to 1-minute stories, and I said no.
You can't do enough
No.
in 1 minute.
Because then 5 years from now, when I go to apply, who's going to want 1-minute stories?
I know.
Because see, with those stories that I've been doing, I've been narrating while having still pictures and videos and stuff like that, and talking
Yeah.
about the accomplishments and
Sure.
contributions.
Yeah, and it's nice to learn a little bit about some of the stars that we've always seen and loved,
Right. And so that's what I want to do if I get this opportunity with what's this part of my life is
Mhm.
tell those Asaph stories.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, they're just fun stories. And I don't want to pick on Inside Edition, for example, but when you watch that show, oh my goodness, the stories they
It's all
talk about.
gossip, and my feeling is, who cares? I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
who cares if
obviously-
somebody's skirt's
I
not like
know.
down to their knee?
I mean,
or,
obviously, a lot of people do. The show wouldn't be popular, but I
I know, and I understand.
just-
I'm not picking on that
I
show,
know.
but it's just I don't want to do those kind of
No,
stories.
it's all, there's too much of them out there.
I know
Yeah.
it. That's and I've noticed that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been advised by some Christian friends to just stay on course. It may take me longer
Yeah.
to get a job,
Mhm.
but
That's okay.
it'll be worth it.
Yeah, that's
Instead of doing the Hollywood stories, I guess.
No,
is
there's too
the way
much
to describe it.
Hollywood stories out there. And being from LA, I tell
know.
you, Hollywood, they call Hollywood Tinseltown for a reason.
Yeah, well, they can have it. Hollywood's not what it's cracked up to be
It's
as
not.
far as the entertainment business. And I learned that lesson a long time
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Nothing is real to me.
Exactly, that's why it's Tinseltown.
Yeah.
Tinsel's not real metal, it's just sort of flash, a little show.
Mhm. And when you get famous, that's not even real, because once you achieve that, then you gotta work hard to stay on top of it. And you
Yeah.
can do 10 things right, and the 11th thing have a little flop or something, and then all the 10 stuff is forgotten.
Oh, yeah,
And they harp on that
that's true.
one thing. It's like, gosh, I worked all my life to get famous just to be pounced on for
Yeah.
one little thing.
I know, that's true.
So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I know, the public can be very fickle.
Yeah, David Cassidy is a good example. Did you see him on Dr. Phil recently?
No.
Well, he has some health issues now. And so I guess people wanted to see David Cassidy. And you can't keep that up forever.
Of course not. Time marches on.
I think he sounded fine, but he was stumbling a little bit and so on, and people were screaming, go to rehab, instead of watching this man in concert, and he stopped his concert.
Oh, dear.
You know, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That's uncalled for.
Packed house, you know, because David Cassidy. I mean, I would like to see him
Cool.
too, myself.
Sure. But if he has health issues and
Well, he does now. It just came out as health
Right,
issues, so you
right.
can't expect him to be
I know.
bouncing around like
No.
when they did the Partridge Family. Did
Exactly.
you ever see that show, The Partridge Family? Familiar with it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, David Cassidy was like the teen idol heartthrob of the
Mhm.
the 70s.
Yeah.
But he's not that
No, that was
kid
40 years
anymore.
ago.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
It's tough.
the point I'm making is the audience can be fickle. You know, you could be like 40 years older, and they expect you to do the same thing, and it just doesn't work
Yeah,
that
very,
way.
very few can do that.
Yeah.
Very few.
You're like, yeah. I'm trying to think of someone here.
Mick Jagger does a pretty good job.
Well, he's an exception to the
He
rule.
is, definitely.
Have some fun with him. I can't believe I'm doing this song. I'm gonna stop right there.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of singers can continue on. Tony Bennett, James Taylor, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
them still sound great, you know, but not everybody, you know?
I know it. Well, I think James Taylor probably took care of his voice, because you scream when you're 20, you're gonna be raspy when
Yeah,
you get like
I know.
50.
Yeah, really.
So,
But yeah, I heard him in concert on PBS just a couple months ago, and he was wonderful.
yeah.
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 And now they're playing a lot of the 70s soft rock at the store.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear like James Taylor
Oh,
and
so
Joni
the,
Mitchell.
like young James Taylor.
Yeah, all day long. So I have to go home and get out my records. Yeah. So now I'm playing, you know, Joni Mitchell and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and
You
all
probably
the
won't
old.
know these people before your
they're
time.
great musicians of the 70s, you
Yeah.
know. And I've got my old scratchy records and a great turntable, and I sit there and, you know, sip a little brandy and listen to the music, and it's wonderful.
Mhm.
It sounds so good.
So, do you have any favorite artists that you like, or singers, or groups, or anything like that? Whether it's religious or non-religious, anyone in particular?
As the moment,
Yeah, like any artists or singers or groups you like.
yeah, I just listen to really like ambient music right now, but
Okay.
most of the time I'm just making my own music.
Oh yeah, well that's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, like, I guess I mean, there's been a few, but I don't know. You know, it's something different making your
Mhm.
own music.
Mhm.
You know, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
It's like you're creating your own world.
Yeah.
You know, you're walking in the world, and you're.
Well, you know they have all this technology out that you can put your new stuff or your music on the computer these days now.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
great. That would be great.
There's a guy, I think his name is Ed Sheeran. Have you heard of him? Young guy.
Ed Sheeran?
Sharon, yeah, something like that.
he's
Yeah,
he's
he's
terrific.
like taking the world by storm.
Oh, he's terrific. He's got great songs out there.
Yeah, I mean, they said he posted one of his songs on the Spotify or one of those things
Oh,
like that,
really?
and then like millions of
Oh,
people.
yeah. I listen to him on Top 40 all the time. He's really, really good.
Yeah, he was on TV recently singing.
Yeah.
He sounded good.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, in the old days, before the computers came out and stuff, you had to go to record companies and knock on their door. You're always turning people down.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
That's true.
Get on that computer, you can be a hit. You can
There
be
you
Justin
go.
Bieber or whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
You like Justin Bieber?
He's.
I love everybody.
Okay.
I like some of Justin Bieber's music, but I think the guy's a jerk.
Well, no, I didn't mean as a person. I just
Yeah,
meant his
and
music.
his
I meant
music's
musically,
okay.
Yeah, I
His
meant
last
musically.
album, to me, though, a lot of the songs sounded very similar.
You know, he was lucky enough to take singing lessons from Usher, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that would explain why he can do those runs so
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
They were saying that about him.
He's got a lot of talent. He really does.
Yeah.
He just needs to stay out of the news.
Well,
You know.
I think the news has probably got something to do with that
Oh,
too. Who
no,
knows?
he doesn't have a lot of respect for anybody, but not even himself.
what is he, about 21 now?
I
He's just
think
gotta
so.
grow.
He's pretty young, but
He's gotta
yeah,
grow.
he's done some things that, disrespectful things that are just pretty. That's
Yeah,
too
but
bad.
musically though, he's very talented.
He's very talented.
He's very talented.
Yeah.
Very, very
Although
talented.
I like Justin Timberlake better.
Yeah, he's in a good place in his
JT
life right
is,
now.
he's the bomb. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah. You like Justin Timberlake? You know who he is?
I know who he
Yeah.
is. I would say I love everybody.
I know that, but we're just talking. We're not talking about the personality. We're talking
Right,
about just
it's just the
musically.
music,
Just
yeah.
musically.
Yeah, I like his music.
I would say I love him all around
Yeah.
because that's what I would want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these people, they're probably going through what they're going through, but you don't know what they're going to come up with 20 years from now.
Yeah, that's
Justin
true.
Bieber might fund,
Mhm.
something to save animals or something 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's great. I know Brad Pitt does a lot for that.
Yeah.
A lot of humanitarian things. It's
Yeah,
pretty-
so you never know what
yes.
humanitarian things these people will do
Yeah.
when they get to be about 30 years old. They're only like 20 or 21,
sure,
so
yeah.
sowing their oats right now, I guess.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to
Mhm.
see.
I've noticed too some of the singers like God, her name just flew out of my brain. But anyway, she does a song called Megan Trainor
Okay.
has done some songs that are very, very positive for young girls.
Oh.
Yeah, there's this one song she does called Me Too. One of the lyrics is, "If I was you, I'd want to be me too."
Mhm.
And she has a little bit of weight, so she has another song called "It's All About That Bass," which means that it's okay to be heavy.
Yeah.
In other words, she's referring to bass as obesity and treble as being
Yeah.
thin. And she said it's all about that bass, no treble. And I think that's a great thing because so many girls become bulimic or anorexic because of their perceived self-image is too fat. When they're this big.
Yeah, I think I have to
Yeah.
blame Hollywood probably for that
Of course.
too.
Oh,
that
yeah, you have to be size
perception.
0 to be, to make it. And
Mhm.
it's not everybody is that small. So she's done a lot to help with the image of girls.
Well, I think that's probably what you'll do is help the image of people too with
Mhm.
your project coming out. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
How long you think it'll be for you to get it finished? You think
Hopefully this year.
Oh, good.
end of this year?
Hopefully this year sometime, yeah. So,
Are you gonna have a private screening or anything like that?
just thinking about it, but then thinking about just giving it away for free,
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best on that
Yeah,
project.
definitely.
That's pretty cool. Louise and I went through something like that when we were
Yeah.
doing that Lawrence Welk show.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's cool that, you want to help other people through your life story, your testimony and stuff. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a really wonderful thing.
I think it's extremely important for us, as human beings, to share all of the good things that we know. See, that's
Yeah.
what I feel about the teaching or the training courses or cooking or whatever. I'm sharing my
Mhm.
knowledge and my skills
Yeah.
with the rest of the world, which
Mhm.
helps me grow and hopefully influences and helps somebody else feel good about themselves too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time.
Oh, my
It just went by very quickly.
yeah.
Jeremy, any final words you want to say before we hang it up for today? Any encouraging, whatever, thoughts, words? Anything you want to say at that camera?
I'd
right
have
there?
to say, Jesus Christ loves you. He's real, and there's only one God.
Good. Louise, anything you want to say?
I just want to say, be good to yourself, because that teaches you how to be good to everybody else.
Right. And this is our 150th episode. I wanted to thank both of you personally for being part of it, and Brother Smith and Scott for
Yeah.
coming and saying hi. And Joe would have came by too, but he had some appointments today and so
Mhm.
on. So he'll probably stop by next week, And again, we're in Africa.
Yes.
One of the most beautiful continents in the world.
Absolutely.
They got the green screen thing better now, huh?
Yeah, this MCAT student got some new toys lately.
Yeah.
We're trying to see if we can do an Asaph Cafe virtual.
Oh, that would be fun.
Working on that.
Yeah.
So we'll
Alright.
see.
Okay.
So until our next show, I am Asaph Adonai. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Louise. Maranatha. And I always freeze on that chord right there. You guys make yourself at home. I'll shut everything down
Okay.
and make you a copy.
Alrighty.
Sounds good.
Nice meeting
Nice
you.
meeting you too.
Your name again?
Louise.
Louise. Nice to meet you, Louise.
Okay.
Take care.
Oh no, this
Good
is
luck.
very bad. Oh no.
Oh,
no.
he's here.
Hey,
How
Jeremy.
are you doing, Brother Smith?
Oh, yeah, this is bad.
The best.